Oh, it's giving. So excited.
Okay,
Love the hair.
thank you. Just finally came to the fact that I just don't like long hair. Like I just can't do it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in any form.
It looks cute cut though.
Yeah, like I can't. And it's like I don't have any hair ties, barely. Like I can't. I couldn't put my hair in a bun. Like, I'm like how am I gonna do this? It's too hot for this.
I like it cut like that. Yeah. It's a vibe. Everybody, I'm Tiffany Ave,
I'm Serena.
and we are two cousins critiquing the culture, and we know you can relate. Welcome to episode 21, 21, 21. And we are back from a hiatus, just life. Basically, if you're following this channel, just know that the episodes aren't scheduled. If you're enjoying the content and what you see, go ahead and subscribe. That way you don't miss an episode. So I feel like our podcast returning is kind of like in sync with like our content and stuff, because I remember when we first started, like one of our primary conversations was around Jocelyn's Cabaret, like as one of the main shows that we were watching, and the fact that she is returning is kind of on brand with our show a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we can start with that, like what we're into for the moment, or we can just kind of do like a check in.
I was just coming off watching College Hill Celebrity Edition,
Mm.
and she's been on there, and I don't know. I was really disappointed. Like pretty much after she got kicked off the show, I stopped watching it because I mean, it was only like one episode left, so it's
Mm-hmm.
mhm. like after that, I just stopped watching it. Like because the whole thing, I wanted to see the fight. Like they kept hyping it up the whole season, her and Rose, and then they didn't
Oh,
show
they
it.
didn't
Like
show it.
no, they're like out of respect of the students in the university, we're not gonna show the fight. What?
Mm-hmm.
So after they both got sent home, I was like, okay. But basically they got sent home because I guess a discussion about race or whatever, and in the class they were like discussing like the teacher was just brought up like what's their racial mountain basically.
Mountain. That's interesting.
Yeah, and um they all said like different things or whatever, and they got into debate about like yeah, Ambrose just like she doesn't feel like she fits into black spaces or white spaces, which I thought was kind of weird. I mean, I can't really tell her like what her experience is or how she feels like in her heart, but like I feel like she's kind of like a video vixen, so I feel like she's kind of like welcomed in black spaces.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see how she may not be able to like relate to everything, but I feel like the black community is very welcoming and to her and stuff like that. But anyway, Justin was just like, you just want to be white, you don't want to be black, very much. And it's like interesting because someone brought up a good point that both of them don't really understand the black experience completely because Jocelyn's like Afro Latina and and Rose is like mixed or whatever and really like not even really like half black, half white. She's like her mom is half black. So
Mm.
and yeah,
Half
her mom's
third.
half black. Yeah, so they both have like kind of a altered view on blackness and versus the actual African American black experience because Jocelyn growing up in like Puerto Rico and stuff, she could have they have different views on race and different terminology and stuff. I mean it's colorism across the board, but it's just different culture. So I thought that was interesting how they're both trying to argue about an experience that they can't really, neither one of them can really relate to. I mean, yeah, they both can relate to being technically black, but it's like different experiences that go along with being black.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that was good promo for Jocelyn and having the new cabaret come out. And
Yeah.
it seemed interesting. I like that it's in New York. It seemed like she's like doing it bigger and better. I don't know what toxic stuff she gonna say this season, but or who she gonna be this season. But I'm interested to find out. Like, new personalities. The new
So it said
personality.
that it was premiering in July, but I didn't get a date.
It's
Do
6 days away.
oh, okay. I like the
I don't know why
countdown.
they can't put an actual date on there, but whatever.
Oh,
That's the
Zeus.
only
Do I
thing I
still
watch
have
Zeus on.
Zeus?
That's the only thing I watch
Yeah.
on Zeus is Jocelyn Cabaret.
Right.
Um, I do want to watch Bad Boys because Orlando Brown on there acting crazy.
I say what I want to say.
So
He's
yeah,
good. He's good for a sound.
yeah. Like people were saying, like they feel like Zeus is pretty much like exploiting him in a way
Mm.
because I think he was in jail before before he started the show, and Natalie Nunn like bailed him out just so he could be on the show. Um, I mean, I guess that's a good thing, but still, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm going ahead and adding my subscription back because
Mm.
I will
I mean,
forget
I'm
if
gonna
I
wait
don't do
till
it.
yeah. I don't know. I might wait till like a few episodes to do
Right.
it.
Yeah. It's always good to do
Because
that.
I think they make the first episode free. I think on YouTube or something.
Oh, how you was talking about like them talking about the black experience or whatever. Like a lot of times I find that in this era of like a lot of people having platforms and stuff, like the stuff that's titled with black in it, typically the people that are the panel like aren't the full black person is the minority of the group. Like
Right.
no matter what they look like, it's always like if it's five people, like four of those people are mixed in some way, have just like a tad. And I feel like not to take anything away from those people because they do, I guess, get treated differently in many aspects,
Mhm.
but there's a difference between a mixed person's black experience, a full black person's black experience, and
Yeah.
then you get into the colorism and the futurism and all that stuff as well. Like it's
Mhm.
I think it's being like blended like unequally. And I think that's a
Mhm.
topic for discussion. Like why is it seemingly, I hate that word by the way, seemingly, because the blogs they be killing that word. I hate that.
Yeah.
But like that's just interesting to me. And that brings me to like, Sexy Red, like who's a new rapper. And I saw a comment one time that said, y'all don't like authentic black ghetto. Y'all like sweetie ghetto.
Exactly. And
And I was like,
Sweetie and Lotto, they both be like kind of low key faking it. Like
mm-hmm,
it's like so annoying. Like they like the ghetto aesthetic, but they want her to be like very like put together and neat about it and have like her edges laid and look really expensive when ghetto and expensive don't really go together. Like
mm, mm. That
it's
that
like
was a gem.
it's weird. It's just weird. Yeah, and it's like when it's a dark skinned girl or like just a regular looking black girl, it's like she gets called every name in the book: dirty, nasty, ugly, ghetto. That's what she is. She never said she wasn't ghetto. Like, but you're not out here calling Sweetie ghetto, and that's what she's trying to be. Like, she's trying to be like sexy red, have that authenticity about
Mm-hmm.
her, and Sweetie don't have that. Like, she don't have like
Yeah.
it's not authentic. You can tell it's like really, really fake. Like she's like cosplaying ghetto. Like,
Right.
um, it's interesting what you said like about race because I just watched this documentary. It came out like 10 years ago, but it was called Little White Lie, and it was about this black girl she was half black, but her family always told her that she was just completely white because she was in a Jewish family. And it was easier to believe that when she was like a baby and younger kid, but when she got older and her skin got darker in the sun, and her hair was curly, and she had big lips, and they were just like, "Oh well, you had a great 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 grandfather that was tan, so you probably just look like
Not
him."
10.
Yeah, and basically what happened was the mom basically had an affair with a black man, and that's why she came out looking that way. And her whole life, her family told her that she was just white, so that's what she just went along with. But it
Mm-hmm.
changed when she it changed when she got to college and she was around other black people because she always she always put white in the box, like what's your race, she always put white. And just by her looking at her, she was completely just immediately accepted into the black community at the school.
Mhm.
And when she said, like, when she was there, she felt like she was meant to be with her people or whatever, and she felt a part of the community, and she didn't feel like, because all her life she hated, like, her skin was darker than all her white friends and stuff. But she said when she was in the black community, her dark skin was light skin, and
Mm.
her thick curly hair was good hair. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And she had to go to a lot of therapy because she was very lost and confused, like, about herself and who she was and how she viewed race, because her dad was kind of like, he didn't no one talked about it. That's another thing. Like, to this day, her mom still haven't told her father that she had an affair. I mean, everyone knows, but it's never discussed. So that was her problem. And,
Mhm.
like, her father, they had a good relationship or whatever, but he kind of, like, as she got older, he took a step back from her because it was almost like she was a symbol of, like, betrayal in the relationship between her and her mom. So I thought that was really interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then it's like she would ask some of her family members, like, "Do you see me as black?" And then all of her white family members would be like, "I don't see you as anything. I see you as my cousin. Or I see you as you." Like, they would never acknowledge her
Avoid it.
race. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
no, that was really interesting. Something else I was watching, someone said, like, I think this white person said, like, the N word or something. Yeah, it was Cardi B. It was She did, like, an old interview or whatever, and she was saying how, because she's someone that kind of irks me and gives me the ick sometimes when it comes to, like, her, because they were saying, how she hasn't released the album in, like, 5 years. She's only had one
Mhm.
album, and she's been able
Mhm.
to stay relevant. But as people were saying, is the only reason she's been able to stay relevant is because she was staying relevant off of black women's backs by jumping on all their songs and stuff, and that's how she's remaining relevant, by jumping on the black women's songs.
Mhm.
And basically, this in the old interview, she was like saying that, she was like, the guy was like, "How do you feel about Latinas saying the N word?" And she was like, "Well, because I'm from New York, it's just habit. Like, I can't stop saying it if I wanted to." And, like, people always say that she's a black woman and stuff, and I'm kind of iffy about that, because I feel like if she isn't claiming to be a black woman, then I'm not going to identify her as such. I don't care how curly her hair is or how her nose looks. If she's not identifying as a black woman, then I'm not going to say that she is a black woman. So I don't see why people, when they say, like, black women rappers, they group her into it immediately just by association. It's like, no, she's definitely Latina. She's Afro Latina, I guess. But if I don't see the words coming out, if she doesn't identify as black, so why should I do it?
Yeah.
Like, clearly she's confused about it.
One
But
thing
yeah,
about our culture, we are very quick to like
invite someone to the
accept,
cookout.
and because of that, I feel like that's part of our downfall. I think because we've been at a disadvantage for so long, um, and maybe it's just a part of who we are. We're very welcoming, very accepting because we've had such a dark and traumatic history. We need to start taking a little more pride. Yeah. It's just so many, it's so many levels and factors to like the black community. Like
Yeah.
it, like literally we could be here all day talking about it. Like that's just the black woman part, speaks to
Hmm.
us because, we live that. And
Yeah.
I um sometimes it's weird because I could sit here and say, well, a mixed person doesn't have the same black experience as a full black person. And
Hmm.
then someone could look at me and say, well, you don't have the same black experience as another black person.
Hmm.
So it's just, it's just like finding that line. But that's why representation is so important. but I
Yeah,
feel like the representation of the black woman is getting um
lost. It's like when they put a black woman in a show, depending on what kind of show it is, the representation is like the majority, how most black women look, the day to day you see, is not what's
mhm,
represented in the media. I mean, I feel like over time it's getting better, but then it's like, how is she portrayed in the show compared to a light skinned counterpart or whatever? Like, it would be completely different. She's like the mean one or the funny one or stuff like that, or, she's not the main focus of the show.
mhm.
Um, it's
Super
very rare.
sassy.
Yeah, especially if she's plus size. Like, if she has a bigger body, then she's gonna be comedic relief 9 times out of 10. Like, she's not gonna, no one's gonna, you might not even know her last name. Like, in the show, like, if she's plus size, like, it's even worse if you're plus size. Like,
Mhm.
I can't.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but I guess, and I kind of talked about that a little bit, leading into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Barbie world movie. I did a take on Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice because they did a song for Barbie World, and growing up for me, just like early '90s,
Mm.
this whole era, and I say a lot about the representation for black women, but um I am proud to see people like Sexy Red, City Girls, um Made the Stallion, you know,
Hmm.
some of the full black women,
Yeah,
living
Scarlet.
this, yeah, because they are examples of young black women who get to live like luxury, and I
Yeah.
think that's important for young black girls to see. Because
Hmm.
growing up in my era, maybe I had like Raven, and but
Right.
she wasn't really like, she was a part of mainstream media, not like fully black culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
um
I feel like she was definitely an amazing representation for little black girls. I looked up to her
mhm
myself because not only was she, it wasn't so much that she was a black girl, it's that she made mistakes, is what I like about Raven. It's like she was constantly making mistakes. And that's what I loved about her because I can relate that because I'm very clumsy and I'm always like messing up something, like,
mhm
and she's very awkward, like, very, always making mistakes, very awkward, and found a way to pick herself back up in the show, and she embraced like her mistakes and stuff like that. That's what I really
mhm
like about that show. And just that, so Raven, it by itself really like made you feel like represented as far as like the things, like, her mom acted like a black mom, like her dad acted like a black dad, like she listened to music and went to concerts, like she talked about stuff that black girls talk about, like she was worried about how her hair was looking, keeping her hair looking right, like I like that
mhm
they put those little things in there. But yeah, I
yeah
feel like she's a good representation. I didn't really have like my I was more so when I was a kid, but as an adolescent, I didn't really have anybody growing up to look up
yeah
to. So
yeah and that's what I'm saying. Like, it was very limited. Oh, Beyonce, but Beyonce is like on a different level
everybody look up
than,
to Beyonce.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, people that felt like everyday people, kind of.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
it wasn't a lot to choose from, and I feel like
yeah.
now it's so many.
Because like
Um,
today in social media, it's required for you to be more relatable. I
mm-hmm,
feel like anyway,
mm,
it's because back in the day, it's like you had to be everything was hush hush, secret with celebrities. But
right.
now it's like people want to know all about you. People want to see like that relatability and stuff like that. Like, so that's why Sexy Red and people like that are very appealing. And I feel like, I don't know, like there's some women that are critiquing her saying like you shouldn't represent black women this way and da 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 da. And I guess I kind of get what they're saying, but why is it her responsibility to be respectable, a respectable black woman, or be a role model for kids. That's not her responsibility. She just turning it up from she having a good time. That's all I see. Like I get you like NDRE talking about some she don't want people twerking on stage and stuff. Well, make sure that nobody's twerking on your stage, NDRE. Like, who cares? Like, my thing is like being respectable and not twerking and not dancing and not covering up all the time. That's not gonna get you anywhere. I'm telling you. Like, it's not. It may get you a husband, but are you gonna be happy? Like it's built off the wrong things, and it's like I feel like sometimes like black people we really embrace like tradition, but that tradition is based off white idea, white people, like white Christian values, straight male heterosexual values, and that wasn't built for us. That was built for them. Like that's what they be. That's what they think. So it's like why are we following all these respectability politics and stuff based off stuff that wasn't even intended for us to win? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that gets you nowhere. Like, being respectable and covering up and all that, it just gets you nowhere. And I just, like, there's beauty in modesty and there's beauty in whatever you want to call it, showing your skin or whatever. Like, just be who you want to be. Like, that's why I hate when people, like, look down on her because, like, she's just being herself. Like, there's nothing wrong with showing your body, twerking. I mean, that's just a part of hood culture. Like, if you don't know, if you never like experienced it or know people that do it and stuff like that, it's just a cultural thing. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah. And I think that I think it depends on how you carry yourself. Like I think people determine that because I'm gonna use Beyonce for an example.
Mhm.
Um, she's been in the industry long time, 20 years plus, and Beyonce shows skin, but at the same time when people are talking to her, they give her this level of respect.
Yeah,
So and I just feel it's a way you go about it, but I don't think celebrities should be um I think parents should teach their children the difference between being an entertainer and what you do as an entertainer versus everyday life, and the
right.
difference. Like you shouldn't criticize a celebrity for just living their life when it's people, like people have parents and people have family, or and then you have your own sense of judgment. You have to know that
Yeah,
these people are in the limelight. They have security with them, they have
mhm,
people with them to protect
right.
them in most cases. So you see them doing this stuff, but they're not alone. Like you just have to use your own judgment, and no one can really be the blame of someone else's actions. And you can definitely draw inspiration from someone. And I think what Sexy Red doing is important because I just saw a video the other day where she ran into the school and the kids like bum rushed her. They were so happy and excited to see her
Yeah,
because she's a representation from where the kids come from.
exactly.
Like she's needed. So don't. And one of my favorite quotes is dimming someone else's light doesn't make yours brighter. Like I
Right.
love that quote because I feel like a lot of times people try to like be shady towards someone else to put themselves in a
Mhm.
better light. It's not even about the person. Um and it just comes off distasteful to
Yeah,
me.
it's like people want authenticity, but it's like kind of fake authenticity. Like
Mhm.
they don't want like the real thing, and it's like Sexy Red is like too real for some people. Like she's like I think some people is like when they go to social media, they want to, or when they look at, so when they think of a celebrity, they want to get away from what they know. And it's like what you know is right in your face. It makes them almost like insecure or ashamed because they're ashamed of where they came from. So they don't naturally they don't
Yeah.
like that celebrity. So that's what sucks about it. They
Mhm.
want they want something they aspire to be, not what they already know. Like they want to look
Mhm.
up to a celebrity, and like she kind of represents like the woman that you look down on, the ones that's twerking and got tattoos and got long weave and maybe like not speak proper English or
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, however you want to define a ghetto person. But it's like
Yeah.
that's where they come from, and they're just really ashamed of where they come from, and it just shows with Sexy Red. Like, or
I
just
love
anybody that's like her, like Glorilla, like um
exactly.
people like with Gorilla is sometime because she's been around for a while, so I feel like people have kind of grown. But that's another thing, colorism, because Sexy Red is brown skin, Gorilla is light skin, so she can be, like
Mhm.
put out to the forefront more and more accepted by people. But even then, Gorilla still she still like gets it like because she's like so hood, and when she tries to
Deeper
soften up,
voice.
yeah, she has a deeper voice, so people kind of view her as like masculine stuff like that. And when she tries to step outside of that, people like, oh no, we don't want to see that. We just want the hood. We just want
Mhm.
the hood Gorilla. Like it's like you get put into a box, you
No
know?
matter what.
Yeah,
One thing I like about Sexy Red, she doesn't wear makeup for the most part. She
yeah.
wears
I love
glasses. I've
to.
never seen a rapper wear glasses.
Right.
Um,
And
Natural
unique.
body. Yeah. Like it's and because for the longest time people were thinking, oh well, female rappers start a kit, you have to have a BBL, you have to have
Yeah.
a certain body. And I feel like women like Sexy Red, Scarlett, Glorilla,
Mhm.
they're changing that perception. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to go out and do that, necessarily to get put on. So it's
Right.
good changes that happens.
Right. Like, and that's a good representation for girls to look up to, so you won't
Mhm.
feel like you have to like do that. Because I
Mhm.
always notice it's like a pattern when you start coming up. Like once you start, you're usually not as dressy or glamorous as you are when you reach like to your height of your career. But
Mhm.
gradually, like if you're just a regular black girl, eventually at some point they're gonna slap a blonde wig on you or a bright pink wig on you. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's like trying to change you
Trying to
from what you are.
change.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's like, oh well, I'm just experimenting. Like,
Yeah,
no.
lightening your skin and stuff and lightening your photos and your pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Putting in like weird, uncomfortable clothes. Like it's like a
Right.
pattern. Like every time you make it big, it's like eventually, depending on like, and one people I don't see they really do that with is like people like NDRE and Alicia Keys and Jill Scott. Those artists, they don't really kind of go through that. They just kind of stay in their lane when it comes to the little naturalista,
Mm-hmm.
earthy type of vibe. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
like a pop star or a rapper, then you eventually go through that process. But
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with like wearing colored hair or doing any of those things I said. It's just trying to change person from who they are.
Right. And you could actually want to do it or have someone or a label forcing you
Yeah.
to oh well, you need to reach this audience. You need to do you need more followers or you need, more streams. Like it's
Yeah.
just it seems very stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful. And on top of that, you got to read comments. You got the label in your ear. You got family and friends.
Hmm.
Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I were to blow up, I would only want to be a certain level of famous. Like I wouldn't want to
Hmm.
be the maximum top tier famous. Like it's too
Yeah.
much.
And but it's like even once you're in the public eye, it's like you can't control how famous you could get.
That's true.
Mhm.
Shut up. I never really thought about that.
Because
You can't control it.
especially if you continue to work, like you just can't control. Like I mean, some people I feel like are good at it. Like I think like Lala Anthony, like I feel like she's really good at
Hmm.
it. Like she's maintained like a clean record. I feel like she never like
That's a
had a
great
big.
example.
Yeah, I mean, she may have had like, marriage troubles and stuff like that, but as far as like her character, that's never hasn't been questioned. She has a pretty like clean slate, and she's never been like,
Phenomenal example.
yeah, she's never been like super, super, super famous. Like, I mean, but she's also very well known. Like,
And she
even on
hangs
both
with
sides,
them.
not just like she's not just black famous. You know that like she has like her hand in a bunch of different like pots just because
Hmm.
she's like an interviewer and stuff.
Hmm.
So I feel like she's a good person like that is doing that.
Yeah.
Especially like and also like maintaining momentum in her career and keeping work. Um, and I feel like Kiki Palmer, she like
Oh,
Like she was good at that, but
I
now
have her
she
name
with
on
all
it.
the scandals going on with her, now it's like she's a lot more famous now. But it's kind of in a way benefiting her in a way. So it's not really, even though it's like she's been going through like a scandal and stuff and like drama with her relationship, it's like I feel like that's going to help her in the long run if she like goes the right way about it. Like because she
She
seems
has
like she
such a
doesn't indulge in drama a lot.
she has such a great personality for being famous. I feel like
Yeah, she does.
she is just so likable. When she does interviews, she actually talks and have a conversation and almost brings
Mhm.
out the personality in the interviewer.
You're
You
right.
know, I enjoy her content.
Hmm.
Like she has taken no L's, and it's hard when you're a child and grow up in the limelight. But she seems to have like mastered that. I think today was a pretty good discussion about representation, um, people that are currently making moves and what that means for our culture. Any any last thoughts?
I just agree with you. Like, I feel like it was a good discussion as far as what's been going on in the culture, as far as race and representation, and like just the culture, as far as like how we see ourselves and um how the people are making us feel.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Culture Cousins podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos and follow us on all socials. Bye.